I've got two prosecutors, Fani the hoe, I'm sorry.
No, you're not. He's not sorry. And he's projecting. That was Rudy Giuliani doing what he does best, keeping it classy during his speech at a Christian nationalist event in a Michigan church. He called another woman a hoe during his speech in a church. Real classy. Now, he was referring to Fani Willis, who of course is the Fulton County District Attorney, who has indicted Giuliani for his role in the fake electors scheme meant to overturn the 2020 presidential election and hand a win to Trump, a win that he did not deserve. Now, Giuliani, again, was indicted, so he's probably real salty toward Willis. But he was speaking to people who think of themselves, presumably, as good Christians. The Reawaken America tour, the brainchild of MAGA fanatic Clay Clark, is a culture war roadshow that is part conservative Christian revival, part QAnon expo, and part political rally, according to NPR. And Rudy wasn't done. So while making fun of the pronunciation of her name, he actually doubled down on his derogatory epithets.
Fani? What is Fani? Now, F-A-N-I is not Fani, and I'm not calling her Fani. I could drop the whole part if she just quit and go away. But to me, you spell your name F-A-N-I. You're Fanny, you're not Fani.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
I'm gonna pronounce her name the way she would like her name to be pronounced. Now, with that said, real Christian of him to refer to her as a hoe, and what he's specifically referencing is a poor decision that she did make. I don't think it makes her a hoe. I think it makes her irresponsible to basically choose Nathan Wade, who she was in a romantic relationship with, to be the special prosecutor in the election interference case. I say that that was irresponsible because it kind of screwed up the Georgia case against Donald Trump. It was a bad move, but Nathan Wade was, forced off the case. I think that was the right thing to do. That doesn't mean she's a hoe. Okay, she had a relationship with someone and she made a bad decision. But I'm gonna talk about who the real hoe is in just a second. Before we do, John, why don't you come in?
Yeah, I think that we should make sure, as always, we're journalists, we have ethics, we have to provide balance here. And so we've been focusing on the misogynistic element of this. Let's provide some balance and also acknowledge the racist element of this, because it's a very big part of it. That's why he's saying it. That's why he's using that terminology. Rudy Giuliani is a hardcore old school racist. Fani Willis stood up to him. She shouldn't. She should know her place. And she has a personal life, so automatically, that's the terminology he's gonna use. And he uses it confident that everyone else in that crowd is gonna feel the exact same way about people like her. And so he can just throw it out there. It's not a joke, it's not funny, there's nothing interesting about what he's saying, but they're all cackling with laughter. Isn't it naughty to call that black woman a hoe? Oh, Rudy, you cad, saying that in a church. Again, none of it makes sense, but they love it. They love the open misogyny and racism.
Yeah, look, I think you're right. I want to make another point though. What this event does is it tarnishes, in my opinion, the reputation of Christian religion in this country, when what you just saw is not in any way representative of the vast majority of people of faith in this country. And I say that as an atheist. I don't believe in organized religion. I don't feel the need to defend any religion, but the majority of Christians in this country would look at that disgusting display and describe it as such, okay? Now, with that said, let's take a little trip down Giuliani Lane, where the real hoedom exists, because he's not really known to be, faithful to his wives. And I say wives because he's been married 3 times, and he allegedly started dating each of them while still with the previous wife. So you really want to throw stones from that glass house? Okay, let's continue. Television anchor Donna Hanover started dating Giuliani when he was married to his first wife, Regina Peruggi. I don't know, I'm really bad with pronunciations, but Giuliani's marriage with her was annulled after 14 years when he says he discovered he was married to his second cousin. I mean, okay. Of all the women out there, you went for the cousin. Okay, off to a rough start. Then in May of 2000, Giuliani called a news conference and announced a separation from Hanover. It was also a public acknowledgement of his year-long relationship with Judith Nathan, whom he praised as a very, very fine woman. The separation, however, was allegedly a surprise to his wife, who said she found out her 16-year marriage was ending by watching television. We're not done yet. Okay, so then after that year-long affair, he married Judith. Fast forward to 2018, and she files for divorce amid another alleged affair that Rudy was having with Maria Rosa Ryan, a hospital administrator who was also married at the time. Judith filed for divorce 5 days after Rudy and Maria were spotted getting real cozy at a resort hotel in New Hampshire. He then acknowledged that he and Ryan had dinner and watched a movie at the posh spa, but claimed he was already in effect separated from Nathan at the time, to which Judith responded, "My husband's denial of the affair with the married Mrs. Ryan is as false as his claim that we were separated when he took up with her." And so I think marriage history alone says a lot about Rudy Giuliani living in that glass house as he throws stones at Fani Willis. But then there's also one other thing, an accusation from another woman, okay, in his life. This is in 2023. Rudy Giuliani was hit with a sexual assault lawsuit accusing the one-time New York mayor of sexual assault and harassment, wage theft, and other misconduct. I remember reporting on this. Giuliani's ex-associate, Noelle Dunphy, alleges that Giuliani began abusing Miss Dunphy almost immediately after she started working for him, and that satisfying his sexual demands, which came virtually anytime, anywhere, disgusting, was an absolute requirement of her employment and of his legal representation. He was representing her as a lawyer, and this is what he demanded in exchange. He denied the allegations. And then finally, I'm sure you all remember this, in 2020, footage from the Borat sequel that was recorded in a hotel room by hidden cameras showed the former mayor in an apparently compromising situation with a woman. Giuliani denied behaving inappropriately and said he had been lying on a bed with his hand down his pants because he was tucking in his shirt. Not buying it. We all saw that video. It did not look like he was just tucking in his shirt. So yeah. John, ho for show.
100%. I'm glad that you mentioned the Borat. I was waiting to get to that. Yeah, no, all of that is incredibly damning. If you are going to be the sort of person that thinks that we need to judge people's relationship history, with which Rudy Giuliani does, he thinks that that's what we should do. We should do it in public to get applause. Everyone in that crowd thinks that's what we should be doing. Well, then we should be pointing 100 times as many fingers back at Rudy Giuliani. But it won't matter because he's a man. And in Christianity, the standards are not, the rules are not for men, they're for women. It's the standards of behavior that are meant to be wielded as clubs against women. That's why Rudy Giuliani is gonna do just fine in that crowd. That's why Donald Trump and all of his marriages, let alone all of his infidelities, don't bother them at all. They like that he was able to do those things. He's being awesome when he does those things. And that's one of the fundamental inequalities that their behavior sort of rests on.
Yeah. No, look, I think you're right. I would just say though, just a little tweak to your statement. It is true that the double standards between men and women exist within the Christian religion, but I think that it's also indicative of what we see in broader society.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just part of the culture that I wish we could change and just treat everyone equally. Because you're right. I mean, Giuliani's disgusting, unfaithful behavior doesn't get criticized as much as, Fani Willis deciding to have a relationship with another adult. As
a consensual one.
A consensual one, exactly. And by the way, I want to clarify something. So Giuliani as a lawyer claimed that he would assist Noelle in a legal battle that she was dealing with, but she was in fact his employee as well. She was hired as his director of business development. So I want to make sure that I clarify that and don't make it seem as though he was just her lawyer. She was actually working for him when the alleged assaults would happen.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a young Turk.